Good morning, everyone. Eric Rosen here for your daily horoscope for Tuesday, October 20th, 2020. Thanks so much for being here. It's actually kind of funny as I was starting to roll on this thing. Um, I got frustrated because I was like stuttering a couple of times. I'm like, damn it, got to restart the video. But it's actually a good thing because you know, wasn't recording. I was not recording. And so I would have gotten to the end and probably been really upset. And then I had a phone call, but it was reminding me that my son has a dentist appointment in the morning, which I totally forgot to schedule. And so, this I mention this because this is some of the type of energy that's specifically coming up in the astrology right now, just to put it in really practical terms. Although this Mars Jupiter is kind of coming off of the challenging aspect that they've been in, there's always something to me whenever planets kind of start to get over the hump of the peak out energy of where they're either challenging each other or getting along or whatever's going on in the astrology, where that almost seems to be where it starts to manifest. It's like the energy peaks out, it gets on that supreme metaphysical energetic level, and then sometime afterwards is when you start to really see it really playing out in your reality, almost like kind of integrating it a little bit. And so I think this is showing us where um because there's so much deep collective healing going on with our egos and our control of the way that we want things. I think what's getting us on a grand path of achievement is like showing us, hey, where can we kind of be kind of a smooth criminal, I guess you could say, in terms of just how we're showing up to our day-to-day life. And I would say every moment too, with this understanding that it's like, yeah, like actually, it's not the destination, it is the journey. I think that's a lot about the understanding of Jupiter and Capricorn, that if you can't, let things roll off your back and have fun, and you're getting frustrated and upset because, your day is not going perfectly the way that you want to to go, it's like, how can you ever receive any of the like great gifts that Jupiter is going to deliver at the end when it reaches the end of Capricorn in early December? And same thing with Saturn. Saturn's a little bit more of a hard ass about deliverance of the gifts, but it's just because it asks you to work hard to get it. And so I think this is part of the shadow work in the astrology, the karma of like, hey, like, you're kind of showing up to work pretty often here. We are seeing this moon in Sagittarius that's crossing over the south node to start the day. And so, this can kind of speak a little bit to, sometimes I shame the south node a little bit too much. Like some astrologers will say, oh, you don't want to go here anymore, you want to go here. But I've kind of adjusted my stance on the nodes a little bit, where it's more like this is just going to show up by default, but you're choosing a new choice in the moment, a new karmic path, if you will, by using that moment as an indicator when to switch over to the north node. And so, for example, it's like I'm going to go on a little expedition to St. Louis today and go to the St. Louis Art Museum, as part of what's called an artist date. And so it's like, I could look at this and be like, oh no, I need to, not do that and not go do any type of traveling. I should stay more local to my environment. But to me, a big way to look at these nodes right now is like, yeah, there's going to be travel. Yeah, there's going to be, um, you know, experiences that come up to broaden your horizons. But it's more about how are you interacting with that environment when you get there, and where's your mindset at? Because the thing is I could go to the art museum and just like have super high expectations instead of having curiosity, just like intellectual curiosity and wonder with everything that I'm seeing, and create an expectation that I'm supposed to get something out of it. And because I'm in that more controlling mindset, then it doesn't come through. So this is looking at, with whatever experiences that you're showing up to in your life, it's like, can you cultivate that curiosity and still just show up with a sense of wonder? And it might be hard, because we want our lives to show up a certain way, but you know, in a way, it's like, thank God, because it's showing us just where we're controlling. We have those conditional happiness aspects, and so it may feel like it's really stretching us out, and we don't really ever get a break in terms of where our mind and our thoughts are going, and just constantly the growth, man, the growth, right? Like it's huge right now, and we're searching, deep down for harmony. But notice the harmony does come from being, curious and in the moment. Um, it's kind of more of a mental understanding that, yeah, harmony really does come from searching for this deep truth with this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, that deep truth of, there's always beginnings and endings. Scorpio deals with transformation. You fall into ashes and then you're reborn as the phoenix rising. And so there's a little bit of like, dare I say, like dying to the moment, things that are kind of going on right now too. So, Venus is coming off of that opposition to Neptune. And so we're kind of getting, I think, a little bit back to reality a little bit again. We might have had a moment there where maybe we kind of wanted to really just find some comfort more and maybe some escapes, maybe some patterns, maybe stuff with media and things like that, just to kind of get a break from the mundane and putting in all the work. But what's really cool is that it gave us an opportunity, I think, to show us and see very well how hard we've been working, or at least, everything that we've been going through, and to cultivate a sense of self-care and compassion was a really big deal. And so now that we're starting, we, I think, got that lesson. It's like now we can go forth and go forward and say, okay, I'm going to take this with me and I'm going to do something with it. And so I would say that it's not falling into the optimism of, oh, okay, great, I feel better. My batteries are recharged. I can kind of go back to the same old belief systems of the way that I would say, approach my day to day life. But it's more about, hey, can you meet the challenge instead of maintaining a sense of how much more, openness and curiosity can I bring in? I just learned, a really awesome lesson that, yeah, it is possible to care for yourself even during, hard, tough work. But can I remain open to that? Can I continue to, ask myself questions and really pay attention to where my mindset's going? This astrology is saying that the physical comfort right now comes from being in the moment of really paying attention to where your thoughts are going and how you're interacting, with people and things, whether that's how you're handling your meditations. It's like I had a thing this morning where I was like, wow, like I'm going to stay a little bit more grounded with my meditation, actually observe my thoughts, the more traditional meditation, instead of trying to do all this crazy, like, hypnosis, astral projection, trying to get messages from, God and my guides and that. And just like, you know what? I just need to cultivate a sense of concentration. And so this is like not so much about going back to the well of like getting the gifts in Sagittarius of like the gifts of the experience of like, oh, let me feel good, this way because this makes me feel good. But it's like the South Node is like the great illusion. It's like, are the things and experiences and the beliefs and all of it that you're doing and the things that you're learning, are they really giving anything back? Might sound kind of crazy, but it's like the things that we're not hanging on to, that we're totally releasing attachment on and letting the curiosity and the wonder come in, that's what's paying things back, even though it feels like you're not walking away with like anything tangible. Um, so it does bring up a great point about, this is why I think it's important to, kind of reflect on your thoughts, and writing, journaling, just because is always going to be such a huge practical tool as long as this North Node is in Gemini, and really any time, but especially now, for trying to organize our thoughts and celebration. It's like the celebration of maybe having to pull out of your mind like the great work that you've been doing and seeing that and feeling that. So I think I'm going to just conclude it at that for today. I pretty much hit everything. Um, I would just be regurgitating old information, I think, at this point, which in some ways maybe I already have on today's video. But, there is a saying about what a daily horoscope is, like a mundane horoscope, meaning that it's kind of like not a whole lot changes, you know. Sometimes it's the same pattern, especially for, you know, maybe 2.5 days at a time, because that's how long it takes the moon to go through a sign, and it's the fastest moving um, celestial body, or any placement, because we refer to the sun and moon as celestial bodies and not planets, and then Chiron's an asteroid. But this is just kind of where we keep doing the work. It's a lot of physical grounded work energy and deep healing going on with those actions, and the mindset. Uranus is kind of starting to go back on its island a little bit with its retrograde in Taurus, as Mercury retrograde's coming off that opposition, although that's still manifesting. And so I think it's just showing, it's like, can you, the things that have been coming up in conversation, whether that's with yourself or within people, it's like, okay, are you ready to move forward with that? There's a thing with Uranus when it's retrograde about maybe not being ready fully, and feeling the push forward to go up the elevator or go up the mountain with all the Capricorn. But it's like, yeah, can you simultaneously really bring in a spiritual connection while you're going up the mountain in physical reality? But are you willing to do that? Are you putting forth like the truth that's coming up? It's like, you don't have to wait to the end of the end of the Mercury retrograde for the integration period. It's like we're in so much like quick change energy, with these nodes. It's like, yeah, no, go and implement it quickly. That's how you get the peace and harmony with the sun at the end of Libra. And it's anything that you're weighing on your life too. It's like with the bigger decisions, there's a sense of cultivating patience and weighing it out to the end. And then there's the stuff with like the little detail stuff of just like, don't make it bigger than what it is. Just make the decision, because otherwise that can result in some, I was going to say physical overwhelm, where you're actually having a physical experience of feeling overwhelmed because you're trying to figure out so much and da 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 da. But it's like, really the overwhelm comes from blowing up bigger and significant things, and uh, trying to control and press, and I need answers. I want to understand more about the bigger decisions in my life, and how's this all going to work, like how am I going to get there, like, so, like the facts aren't like really adding up right now. And so it's more of a sense of cultivating trust, cultivating that power and that wisdom within the self, of like really just knowing what you want deep down and just recommitting to that in your heart. What's the peace and beauty and love that you want in your life? And it's like committing to that vibration and then making passionate decisions from that space, that I think is what unveils the red velvet carpet. So that's what I got for you guys today. I said that once already, but my guides always know how to come through at the end with like the deepest channeled information. So glad it kept going. But I love you all, and hope you're doing well. Take care.